Hello students, welcome to 8th standard class. Today we shall study about the history part, first chapter, sources. In this chapter you learn sources required to the study of history, types of sources of history, importance of the archaeological sources, importance of inscription, importance of oral sources in history. History is a systematic study of the past. Here history, the word is derived from Greek word historia, means learning or knowing by inquiry. It is a systematic study of past. Past means the record of the events that happened long ago. It helps to understand political, social system and economic activity and culture of people. And it is not only looks at important events such as wars, revolutions, change of government and great inventions, and also explains why and how. It is the story of progress of man from the beginning of civilization to the present time in a chronological order. History is written on the basis of sources. Here sources. What is the meaning of source? Source means the things used by human being in the past have remained then. They are called as sources. Hence, so to study history, sources is important. Hence, there is no source, no history, is the stance of history. Here, stance means manner or one's opinion. History needs proofs, documents, evidence. Without these, we can't blind believe history. We can't blindly believe history. So, by proofs only, we can study history. Historians is like an advocate. The advocates present their arguments on the basis of followed evidences and sources related to their case. Similarly, historians also collect the sources, subject them to critical examination, analysis and then write the history. Means whatever the historian, they used to get the information, first they used to examine it, analyze it, then they used to write the history. Here, meaning of sources. As I said earlier, the things used by human being in the past have remained, that is called as sources. So here human beings had created many facilities to lead their life since ancient times, as you can see in the pictures. Either it is forts, ornaments, pots, etc. used by the human beings in ancient times. Hence the agriculture tools left by the earlier people, forts, coins, inscriptions, arms, temples and other religious buildings are considered as sources to write history. Here, first one, forts. How the forts help us to know the history. In ancient time, kings used to build forts to protect their kingdom by the attack of the enemies. So by that we come to know why the people, they used to build the forts. Next is coins. It helps us to know about the ruler, the extent of the ruler. Metals used in the coins tells us the economic condition of a particular empire. Next, inscription. Inscription means engraved writings. Inscriptions are written on stones, rocks, metals, etc. It tells us about king's administration, structure, official orders and socio-religious and economic practices. For example, Ashoka's inscription. Here inscriptions contain not only Ashoka's story about how his life was changed by Kalinga War and how he accepted Buddhist religion, and also his views and thoughts on Buddhism. Like that, inscription also giving the information about the past. Next is arms. Arms is nothing but weapons. It gives information about the weapons used by the kings in the wars, even the revolutions, the wars, why the king they used to do the wars to expansion of their empire, even the revolutions, their causes and the effects. By this we come to know about the past. Next is temples. As we know, temples are religious centers. But ancient times, temples not only they are using as a religious center, but also they used to it is as a social and educational centers also. Temples, it gives us information about the religion of the kings, which god and goddesses they used to worship. Even the kings used to build the temples for the memory of their achievements. For example, Kirti Narayana temple built by Vishnuvardhana for the victory over Cholas. Like that, these sources help us to study history. Similarly, the written documents and literary works are the main source of the history. In earlier time, the people they used to write on the leaves, on the stones, as you can see in the pictures. The written documents. The materials needed for the writing of history are the primary sources. These sources can be divided into two. First one is literary sources, next one archaeological sources. In literary sources, again there are two types: written literature, oral literature. In written literature, there are two types. First one, native literature, next foreign literature. In oral literature, Lavanies, folk tales, historic legendary. The same way, in archaeological sources, monuments, coins, inscription and other archaeological remains we can see. So one by one we shall study about that. First one is written literature. Written literature is the main source of literary sources. Literature can bring the contemporary social life of the times of the writer alive to us. Here, as you can see the pictures, the literature, it helps us about the social life of the people at that time. Either it is Mudra Rakshasa of Vishakadatta, next Gata Saptasati, Kautilya's Arthashastra, Kalhana's Rajatarangini, even Firoz Shahi. A literary work portrays then existing aspects of the life either directly or indirectly. So by these sources we come to know even the kings, their achievements, even the ordinary people's life also. In the written literature, first is native literature. The literature created by Indians in native language, means in their regional language, is called as native literature. The literary works in Sanskrit, Prakrit, Kannada, Telugu, Tamil, Hindi, Marathi, Kashmiri, Gujarati, Oriya and in many other native languages are the sources. Written literature examples: Kautilya's Arthashastra. Kautilya, he was a teacher and prime minister of Chandragupta Maurya. He wrote Arthashastra in Sanskrit language. The Arthashastra, it gives the information about administration, foreign affairs, judicial system. By reading this book, one can understand the political, economy and administration, social and other aspects of Mauryan Empire. Next, King Hala's Gatasaptasati. Gatasaptasati means 700 verses written in the Gathas. It is in Prakrit language. Hala, he was 17th king of Shatavahana dynasty. So he wrote Gatasaptasati. Next, Vishakadatta's Mudra Rakshasa. Vishakadatta, he was a Sanskrit poet, lived during the Gupta period. He wrote Mudra Rakshasa. Mudra Rakshasa gives the information about King Chandragupta Maurya and his achievements. Next, Kalhana's Rajatarangini. Kalhana, he was Kashmiri historian and poet. He wrote Rajatarangini in Sanskrit language. The Rajatarangini, it gives the information about history of Kashmir, about the kings who ruled Kashmir. Next one is Banabhatta's Harshacharita. Banabhatta, he was a Sanskrit prose writer and poet of India. He was in the court of King Harshavardhana. He wrote Harshacharita. Harshacharita, it is the biography of King Harsha. Next, Chandbardai is Prithviraj Raso. Chandbardai was a court poet of Prithviraj Chauhan. He composed Prithviraj Raso, an epic poem about the life of Prithviraj Chauhan. Next, Pampa's Vikramarjuna Vijaya. Pampa was a Jain poet. He was in the court of Chalukyan king Arikesari II. His great epic was Vikramarjuna Vijaya. It is a Kannada version of the great epic, the Mahabharata of Vyasa. Last one, Sangama literature. It is the earliest available Tamil literature. It is one of the main sources used for documenting the early history of the ancient India. Here it gives the information about numerous kings and princes, especially South India. Next type in written literature is foreign literature. Many foreigners who visited India as travelers, ambassadors, businessmen, officials and missionaries have recorded their observation and experience in their works. Missionaries are nothing but the followers of the particular religions. These works are considered as foreign literature. Means the people who came to India and whatever they observe, whatever they got the experience, they used to write in a book. That is nothing but foreign literature, as you can see in the picture. In that, Megasthenes Indica. Megasthenes, he was a Greek traveler. The king Seleucus Nicator sent him as an ambassador to the court of King Chandragupta Maurya in India, and he wrote Indica. Indica, it gives the information about the city administration, social and religious life of Mauryan period. Next one, Fahian's Gokhoki. Fahian, he was a Chinese Buddhist monk, visited India during the reign of Chandragupta II. Here, the book gives the travels information about the travels of Fahian. Next, Yuhen Sang. He was also a Chinese Buddhist monk, visited India during the reign of Harshavardhana. He wrote Seiyuki. It gives the information about administration, social and cultural condition of India at that time. Next, Ptolemy's geography. Ptolemy, he was a Greek astronomer, geographer, mathematician. His work was geography. It defined geography, explained how to draw a world map, and offered a gazetteer of over 8,000 locations in the known world. Next, Ferishta's Tariq-e-Ferishta. Ferishta, his full name was Muhammad Qasim Hindu Shah. He was a historian of Persian origin who later served the Deccan Sultan as the court historian. Here, Tariq-e-Ferishta, it is a general history of India with particular reference to the Deccan states. Comes down to the close of the reign of Akbar. It is the introduction, a resume of the history of Hindustan. The Muslim conquest is given, and also the victorious progress of the Arabs information should be given in this book. Next, Babar's Tuske-Babri. Babar, he was the founder of Mughal Empire. Babar's autobiography was called as Tuske-Babri. In these works, also one can get the depiction of the contemporary social, political, economic, cultural and administrative aspects. Means by these works we come to know the social, political, economic and cultural administrative system of those periods, in which period they lived. Exaggeration, hyperbole and loyalty to one's master are apparent in native literature. In native literature we can see overstatement. Exaggeration meaning is overstatement or dramatic than it really is. Little bit it should be dramatic. Even excess means more. Hyperbole means excess. Even loyalty we can see. Loyalty is nothing but trust or faithfulness. These all the things we can see in the native literature. Similarly, in foreign literature, due to lack of local knowledge, many misgivings are recorded because they were foreigners. They don't know more about India. So they don't know more about the local knowledge. So because of this reason, little bit misguidings also recorded in their books. So these are the drawbacks of written literary sources. Even literary sources have more advantages also, little bit limitations. So historians have the challenge of writing history keeping in mind all these limitations. So earlier also I said the historians, they are like advocates. So first they used to examine, they used to analyze, then they were writing the history. So I think you understood this much of a part of the source lesson. Thank you.